Imagine a world where debt and unemployment are rising at a rate so high that it takes a whole decade before things start getting better. And no, I'm not talking about 2023, but rather 1929, when the Great Depression took over the world. Everything that falls must have risen at some point, as was the case in the 1920s when society, particularly America and Europe, was just getting past the events of World War I. The economy was prospering and the decade was characterised by social and cultural changes. The stock market was booming, particularly in light of the expanding electrification of the United States. The amount of US households that had working electricity rose from 12% in 1916 to over 63% in 1927. But unfortunately, the electrifying positivity and optimism crumbled away in October of 1929. On this dark day, Tuesday, October the 29th, 1929, investors sold over 16 million shares on the New York Stock Exchange, all within the same day, causing a huge crash in the US economy, which followed a similar crash that happened in London only 1 month before. The crash resulted in the loss of billions of dollars, the entire net worth of thousands of individual investors. It got to a point where the Dow dropped by 23.05% in 2 days, and some stocks had no buyers at any price. This wasn't the first occurrence either, as it was clear that the crisis had been building up for several weeks, having already had influential peaks such as Black Thursday and Black Monday, right before the final nail in the coffin on Tuesday. To add to the impending doom already taking place, a weird phenomenon happened where a series of dust storms swept through America and Canada, severely affecting the agricultural markets and causing further damage to the economy. Between the years of 1929 and 1932, the worldwide GDP, gross domestic product, declined by an estimated 15%. To compare that to a more recent recession, the global financial crisis, which saw the GDP drop by only 1% between 2008 and 2009. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures, and American President Franklin D. Roosevelt agreed, creating a series of policies that enabled the federal government to intervene in the economy. The first part of his plan was to introduce alphabet agencies, which were organizations designed to help people and businesses in targeted ways. These included the FCA, Farmers Credit Administration, which helped finance farmers struggling with debts. There are way too many alphabet agencies to name without this video becoming an hour long, but the important part is, some people liked them, and others did not. Many criticised the New Deal, believing it did not go far enough to resolve the underlying issues in America's economy. One prominent figure would be Huey Long, a governor who launched an opposing social and economic reform plan called Share Our Wealth. Long had gained almost 8 million supporters by 1935 and planned to run for president in 1936. Unfortunately, he was assassinated shortly after. Recovery from the Great Depression was halted for the United States as it bounced back into another recession between 1937 and 1938. And while things did start to eventually recover, it was soon time for things to come crashing down again when the sequel struck. I hope you've enjoyed this historical deep dive back in time. And if you did, then be sure to subscribe to our channel for more, and leave a comment about what video you'd like to see next.